Barbados.
Very good afternoon to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC News Break. Police has confirmed that the body of the female found in a ravine at Halton Plantation in St. Philip is that of missing woman Marcel Smith. 75-year-old Smith was first reported missing in mid-October, and her car was discovered 2 weeks ago along Chelston Park, St. Michael. Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Superintendent David Welch, says an autopsy was conducted yesterday. The findings have not been revealed by the police. 36-year-old Sheris Ince appeared in court last week to answer charges related to the theft of the car. CBC News understands that Ince will be further interviewed by lawmen regarding the findings of the autopsy. Meanwhile, a fresh appeal has been launched as the search continues for Amelia John. The 18-year-old was reported missing since October 7th. Searches were conducted by police and John's family, but still no trace of the missing teen. Anyone with information as to the whereabouts of Amelia John is asked to contact the police or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-8477. Meantime, a 54-year-old Christchurch man is counting his lucky stars after a narrow escape from death this morning. He's Anthony Bentham of Maxwell Christchurch. Bentham was driving a Suzuki van on his way from Oistins to Bridgetown when he was involved in an accident with a ZM taxi, which was also going in the direction of Bridgetown from Oistins. Bentham's vehicle went over a nearby slope with a drop of almost 100 feet, landing by the side of a house that's under construction. He was freed from his vehicle by the Barbados Fire Service, which used the jaws of life. Bentham reportedly received injuries to his chest, neck and back, as well as a laceration to the top of his head. It's understood that the accident occurred sometime after 7 o'clock, and police and fire officials quickly converged at the scene, as well as several Barbadians. Investigations into the accident are continuing. In other news now, the last fishing season was a challenging one for local fishers. The Barbados National Union of Fisherfolk Organizations, or Barnufo, says climate change, rising sea levels, and the invasion of the sargassum seaweed have all impact on catches. President Vernell Nichols says catches were on the decline. She says as part of its response, Barnufo has sought to educate and train fisherfolk. The latest batch graduated from a training course in several areas put on by Barnufo and several sponsors. Topics covered included navigation and safety at sea, advanced first aid, and financial planning. Ms. Nichols, while looking towards the future, wants Barbados to be aware of changes in world fisheries.
Whether in distant waters or coastal fisheries, we in Barbados and in the Caribbean region, while feeling the effects of changes taking place in world fisheries environment, we must keep abreast with change in its many forms, technology change not excluded. We must be prepared to continue to educate ourselves and to look toward other avenues such as product development in the post-harvest sector and redefine our fishing methodologies and techniques as we continue to ply our waters in search of a variety of fish species.
And Chief Fisheries Officer Stephen Willoughby notes that though the training has been beneficial to fisherfolk, there are still some who stick to their bad habits.
Let me give you an example. After a training course in fish handling, about 3-4 weeks after, I went into the market to see how the graduates were doing. What I saw shocked me. People were still eating and drinking while cleaning fish. The food and the drink was still on the steel. There was no ice inside. And these are people who would have had the training.
Participant Stephen Sylvester welcomed the training, saying he enjoyed the hands-on experience.
Going to the Coast Guard, that was a super day. Yes, just getting in the water for me was the height of the day. But learning to save person doing rescue was really something that you appreciate the hands-on experience of the Coast Guard. I really want to thank them. I don't see any of them here today, but I really want to thank them.
Barbados, as well as countries in the region and the Pacific, are being challenged to unite in resisting the coordinated approach by developed countries to destabilize their economies, often under the guise of development assistance programs. CEO of the Barbados Agricultural Society, James Paul, used the opening ceremony of the inaugural Caribbean Pacific Agri-Food Forum to warn that island states in both regions seem to be swimming against the tide of global economic realities and are being sacrificed on the altar of commercial expediency. Mr. Paul says people are being alienated from the land as a result, and there is a huge disconnect between the ordinary citizens and people in agriculture.
This is reflected by the fact that in today's world, every effort has to be made to teach our children that food comes through the effort of farmers around the world rather than through a supermarket's back door. These are things we have to contemplate as more and more people live in urban environments and have no understanding of or concern of the plight of farmers. However, small island developing states as ours are unique in that we are too small to isolate activities from each other.
President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, Senator Norman Grant, says farmers have been influential in the development of agriculture in the region. He suggested the Caribbean has failed to address the 9 binding constraints to regional agriculture as outlined in the Jagdeo initiative. He is, however, optimistic the 5-day forum will be a game changer for the regional agriculture sector.
Whatever outcome that we get over the next 5 days, we should not attach the name of an individual to that. But we should focus on ensuring that what we're doing, it is an initiative by the people in the region, it is an initiative by the farmers within both regions, and that there is certainly commitment and collaboration to ensure that it works.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Ellsworth Reed, says his ministry recognizes the importance of the agriculture sector to Barbados's economic growth and development. He says it has been doing all in its power to ensure the sector rejuvenates itself and grows. He notes, however, several challenges confront the sector that the ministry is working to combat.
With respect to the challenge faced from predatory larceny, and I believe that this is the challenge faced by farmers in many of our countries, and I'm talking about the countries present here, or represented here, our Ministry of Agriculture has already submitted to the Chief Parliamentary Council, which is the office responsible for drafting legislation here in Barbados, a set of legislation that would seek to strengthen penalties with respect to perpetrators of predatory larceny and to establish certain systems that should serve to deter criminals from committing such acts.
We'll have regional and international news after this break. Stay with us.